decade racing season is underway. The big stars are battling coast to coast and around the world. Motorweek Illustrated has all the action, and our new home is ESPN.
Motorweek Illustrated is brought to you by Fram, Bendix, and Autolite, which are all quality products of Allied Signal. By BF Goodrich TA Radials, we make your car perform. By Quaker State Motor Oil, new Quaker State with QSX keeps your engine cleaner to last longer. And by Toyota, there's quality, then there's Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back on television. I'm Dave Despain. This is Motorweek Illustrated, the first weekly news program devoted exclusively to motor racing. Now, as we kick off our 6th season, we're delighted to join ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage. Now, the guy who dreamed up this whole Motorweek idea is our executive producer, Ken Squier.
Dave, we have reporters all over the racing world with us today, and Chris Economaki is standing by with a forecast on 1988. And we'll be naming the Racer of the Year, as well as the 1987 Hidden Hero. And your job right now is to show the folks just why this is called television's fastest half hour.
You want fast? I'm going to give you 2 fast. Stock cars, so fast that they threaten to fly into the grandstands and kill people. The speeds have to be limited. Jerry Garrett at Daytona tells us how they'll do that.
After Bobby Allison's scary crash at Talladega last year, insurance companies warned NASCAR, get these unguided missiles under control or lose your insurance coverage. That was a sobering threat, and it was obvious as testing opened for next month's Daytona 500 that NASCAR took it very seriously. The 1988 model cars are capable of running well over 200 miles an hour, and that's too fast, say the insurance companies. So, NASCAR is cutting speeds by requiring carburetor restrictor plates. The first plates NASCAR tried didn't slow the cars enough, only to the mid-190s, so an even more severe restrictor was issued. Now, speeds are in the high 180s. That's okay. But officials also realize that at least some of the drivers are now sandbagging, deliberately posting slower test speeds to keep away from even tougher restrictors. NASCAR is determined to win this cat-and-mouse game between inspectors and competitors. It helps that everyone, even the lead-foot drivers, finally realize the game's over and everyone loses if the insurance companies pull out.
I understand what they're trying to do. At Daytona and Talladega, we cannot send cars flying through the air. We cannot. Period. End discussion.
Well, Benny, we hate to disagree, but we think this will be a hot topic for discussion all season. And the Winston Cup cars are not the only division to be hit with restrictor plates. Other divisions will get them too, and I'll have a story on that on Sunday's edition of Motorweek Illustrated. Reporting from Daytona International Speedway, this is Jerry Garrett.
The defending Daytona 500 champion, Bill Elliott, my North Georgia neighbor. The last time Motorweek came your way, we were live from the 500 victory party in the pool room in tiny Dawsonville, Georgia. Well, what better way to come back on the air than with a return visit to owner Gordon Perkle's down-home heaven for stock car fans. And that looks just like Bill Elliott sitting there telling Gordon lies. Hey, Bill, how about it? It's only a month till Daytona. Is that Coors Melling Thunderbird ready to roll for the 500?
Well, you're never ready, but it's going to be here before you know it, that's for certain.
All you racers love to go fast. Now, NASCAR's telling you got to go slower. What's your situation with those restrictors?
Well, you know, when we go into Daytona, I really don't know what to expect. And I think that's what a lot of other teams are looking at. We really don't know what's going to happen when we get down there. Well, I went to Talladega the other day, and I just seem to be running fast because it seems like it's a different world when you go back and try to run slow again.
Well, you were in a different world during this past off-season. These are the remains of an Air Force jet after a mid-air collision with another fighter in which you were taking an observation ride. Your plane limped back to the base, part of its wing missing, and what I want to know is what was going through your mind on that ride?
It was uncertainty. You didn't know what was going to happen. You know, I lost communication with the pilot. You have an intercom system within the aircraft, and I didn't know, and it was that not knowing was the hardest thing to live through. You know, all the way back to the airport, he finally wrote me a little note saying what he was going to do. And, you know, going through all that and knowing that each part was a critical part, you know, and I'd never ejected or, you know, never even parachute out of an airplane, and I didn't know what to expect at all.
Feel good to get your feet back on the ground?
Well, it was pretty good, but I still felt like I got cheated in my ride. I want to go back.
Final question, Bill. I want to know if this scene is going to be repeated on February 14th. Can you win your third Daytona 500?
Well, I sure hope so. It's going to be a tough year this year, but we're going to go at it with a good positive attitude and try to go out there and beat the best.
Thank you, Bill. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Dave, Bill Elliott was one of 3 drivers named this week to the 1988 International Race of Champions. Bill, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine will represent the stock car fraternity in that 4-race series, which opens on Friday, February 12th at Daytona.
Now, we're going to keep you posted on the other 9 drivers as they're named, and we'll have some great racing action when Motor Week continues. One of the world's most unusual. Let's have a look. An incredible variety of machines left Paris, France before dawn New Year's Day for a 10,000-mile, 3-week dash to the west coast of Africa. The Paris Dakar Rally features a battle of factory 4-wheel drive supercars. There's the defending champ, Ari Vatanen, Finland, Peugeot, challenged by the powerful Mitsubishi Pajeros. They come from Japan. And isn't that Grand Prix star Patrick Tambay in the British Land Rover? He's teamed with American motorcycle and off-road legend Malcolm Smith. Now, my favorite class, monster support trucks carrying all the spare parts and repair equipment. They have their own race as well as keeping their team entries healthy. This is basically a parade down to the Mediterranean. Then they cross into the African desert. Things get serious. Andrew Marriott will tell us all about it Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern on our weekend edition. While those rally drivers face the heat of the Sahara, Midwestern racers have moved indoors to avoid the winter cold. And for that story, our old friend Donald Davidson.
No sooner does one season end than the new one begins. It's only January the 3rd, and this is already the second race of the 1988 USAC Midget season. 3 names stood out in this 100-lapper. Beverly Griffith started from the pole in her first Fort Wayne main event and led 15 laps. Then Kevin Potter gave her a tap, sending her into the wall and out of contention. Mel Kenyon in yellow made the most spectacular pass of the day. That's Rob Parrish, whom the 34-year veteran Kenyon was forced to run over en route from 6th place to 5th. A little later, the white 15 of 3rd place Rich Corson slipped wide, and the field came streaming by, but when Kenyon got there, Corson drilled him, putting Kenyon to the back of the pack. Now, watch the yellow car again, but this time it's Sam Eisenhower trying to take the lead from Potter and definitely getting the worst of it here. But when Potter's steering broke, Eisenhower inherited the lead and held it all the way to the checker. You've seen every possible variation of the touchdown celebration during this football bowl season. Now, check out the Eisenhower Shake. There's a man who's waited a long time for his first indoor victory.
Started racing about 27 years ago, and I think my first indoors, it's been 21 years.
Do you like these tight tracks?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Kind of like bumper cars.
Eisenhower moves up to 3rd in the point standings, while Kenyon survived all of that battering to finish 4th in the race and take over the series lead. This is Donald Davidson for Motorweek Illustrated.
All right, Ken Squier, we've been away for a while. You haven't lost that famous racing scrapbook.
Oh, not on your life. The old Quaker State scrapbook is right here and ready to open to a page on stock car racing history. April 27th, 1975, Martinsville, Virginia. The biggest purse in half-mile stock car history, over $71,000, brought out the elite among NASCAR Grand National, now Winston Cup, drivers for the Virginia 500. As Betty Parsons, Darrell Waltrip, Donnie Allison joined the battle up front, back in the pack, a journeyman driver, Richard Childress, was demonstrating characteristic perseverance. First, Childress spun his number 96, bringing out a caution flag despite a neat U-turn onto pit road. Leaders Waltrip and Richard Petty swept past the 96, falling 25 laps behind. Still, Richard held on and eventually earned one of his 76 career top 10 finishes as a driver. Today, that same perseverance has enabled Richard Childress to emerge from the pack and become stock car racing's premier car owner. In a 12-year driving career, Childress had one third-place finish. In less than half that time as an owner, his cars have won 2 Winston Cup championships and $5 million.
Thank you, Ken, and we're going to be opening that Quaker State scrapbook every week here on ESPN.
Indeed. What's
the key to Richard Childress' success? He has a low tolerance for losing.
You know, I kind of handpick each guy that works for me here, and I pick them by their attitude. They want to be winners. They want to be champions. And nobody here likes to lose. You can come in here after we get beat, and it's not a happy place. You know, I don't like to be around people that can just brush off losing. You know, I want them to come back and work twice as hard if they get beat. And that's the attitude these people's got.
One last question, Richard. You've been away from driving a few years now. Do you ever get the urge to climb back in a race car?
Oh, occasionally, you know, I'll get that feeling. And Dale and the guys, they always, when we're testing or something, they try to get me to go out and run a lap or two. But I'm afraid it'd be kind of like I'd be like a reformed alcoholic. I'm be scared to take that first drink. I'd be scared to take that first drive because I'm afraid I'd want to get back in it and do it some more. And I just want to give 100% to everything I'm doing. And right now, I'm happy and content watching Dale drive the race cars and winning races, you know, and doing my job. As long as I can do it and be 100% at it, I just want to do one thing and do it right.
Our congratulations to Richard Childress, our Allied Automotive Hidden Hero for 1987. And we're pleased to announce that Allied, the people who produce Bendix brakes, Fram oil filters, and Autolite spark plugs, will honor a hidden hero each week during the 88 season. Now, we're going to have the motorcycle season opener and more from Daytona right after this. Spring training is underway for the motocross racing fraternity. Let's go to Northern California for that. On a gray and chilly afternoon, the action hot as a $2 pistol at the CMC season opener. Some guys' seasons open more successfully than others. Good to see Brock Glover back in action after a long injury layoff. The 5-time national champ had better luck with that sticky starting gate than did some other guys. Best race of the day, right behind the water truck. Jeff Warden Green sets up to pass Jeff Lease and pulls it off right behind that big jump. I hate it when that happens. Ward won the 250 class. Lease took the 500. But in this second 250 moto of the day, Glover saw his first checkered flag in a long time. And we're going to save that one for him right there. The moto win gave Glover second in the class behind Ward. Mike Kradowski took the 125 honors. Now, looking ahead in 3 weeks, we're going to bring you a special edition of Motor Week live from the 24 Hours of Daytona, Sunday morning, January the 31st. Those cars have also been testing. Our Bob Varsha has that story.
Well, here we are at Daytona International Speedway, where up to 50 teams were expected for the first IMSA-sanctioned Camel GT testing before the season-opening Sunbank 24 Hours of Daytona, the kickoff of Speed Weeks 1988. The only problem is almost none of those teams are here. But for the teams that did show, that means lots of unexpected track time.
We thought it was going to be crowded. You know, they're stocking 60 cars and cutting it off. But it's great. I'm loving it.
There's still lots to see, including the newest incarnation of the Ford GTP with IndyCar star Arie Luyendyk driving. Also on hand are the newest warriors in the GTO battle between Ford and Chevy, a V8 Mercure from Roush Racing, and a pair of protofab Corvettes. Among the missing are last year's Daytona winners from Holbert Racing, still working on their new car back in Pennsylvania, we hear, and the new factory Jaguars, American cousins of the 1987 World Champion Jags. We learned they'll be doing their testing in secret at Talladega next weekend. And one other thing we learned when we arrived here at Daytona, not only are a lot of the top cars still under construction, but so is the racetrack. From a quiet and almost deserted Daytona International Speedway, I'm Bob Varsha.
Ken, a friend of yours died this week.
Well, all of motorsports lost a friend, David. For millions annually, Auto Thrills were not racing. It was Saturday afternoon at a country fair with Joie Chitwood. When 44 years ago, he left big car racing and bought the original stunter Lucky Teeter's equipment. He took the attraction from old-time hell driving to a high-performance auto stunt show, a well-produced, mechanized circus, seldom varying, always newly appealing. When his ringmaster called out, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thrill seekers of all ages, It was a call to come out and have a great time. Joey, we're really going to miss you.
Steve Kinzer, 8-time champion. Carl Kinzer keeps him out front with the oil filter that protects engines fast. Fram, tough enough for the winning it.
ESPN. I, on the other hand, could be in a no-win situation.
Right.
Now, here's Motorweek regular Chris Economaki, editor-publisher of National Speed Sport News. Welcome back. There's Ken Squier, and there's no way I'll get a word in edgewise. I'm taking a break. You guys decide who goes first.
Well, if he goes first, I'll never get a word in, and I want to look back at the great moments I'll remember from 1987. In virtually all of the major racing series, the speed records took an incredible beating in 1987. Drag racers pushed the performance envelope the furthest. Barely a year after Don Garlits broke the 270-mile-per-hour barrier, Joe Amato hit 280, and Eddie Hill ran this national record 285-mile-per-hour pass at the Texas Motorplex. The higher the speeds, the more spectacular the crashes. Pancho Carter taking what I think had to be the wildest ride of '87 in testing for the Indy 500. Indy also produced the great comeback story of the year, Al Unser Sr.'s storybook month of May. He turned up without a ride, then took over for the injured Danny and Gaius with the Penske team. Big Al went on to win the race, matching A.J. Foyt's record with his 4th victory at the Brickyard. Overseas, there were a couple of championship disasters. When Nigel Mansell crashed out of the season-ending Japanese Grand Prix, he squandered his 3rd title shot. Teammate Nelson Piquet inherited the crown. And this sidewinder in the final event of the World Rally Championship in England cost Finland's Mark Alain a title. His Lancia teammate, Ua Kekkonen, went on to edge Alain for the championship for the 2nd year in a row. But my choice for the classic moment of 1987, that came at Charlotte Motor Speedway in May. Plenty of bickering over the format and how the field was selected for the 3rd running of the Winston. But with $200,000 to win on the table, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, and Bill Elliott put on the driving exhibition of the year. They swapped a lot of paint, and there were harsh words and big fines for rough driving when it was all over. But all those fans who paid good money to see what would happen were treated to pure racing excitement. And that's what the sport's all about.
Well, Ken, in the brief moment you've left me, I'd like to take a look at what we expect to see in 1988. Formula One. Big question hanging over the globe-girdling open-wheel series is, which engine will prevail? The cutback turbos or the bigger normally aspirated power plants with unlimited fuel? We think the turbos have had it. Stock car racing. Despite the avowed intention to make racing safer by slowing down cars on its super tracks, NASCAR's mandate of carburetor plates could intensify the competition to an unbelievable extent. IndyCar racing. Despite escalating costs and fewer cars, USAC's decision to give stock blocks more inches and a better chance at qualifying for the Indy 500 could see increased Detroit interest in this country's greatest race. IMSA road racing. With head man John Bishop recovering from quadruple bypass surgery and the young Lions now in charge, we expect a vigorous season from the zigzag sports car set. 2 new Florida tracks are on the schedule, one in West Palm and one in Tampa, which should make for some interesting promotional competition. And with Jaguar's British-based team challenging the Porsches on the tracks, the competition will all be from promoters. Drag racing. Despite sizzling performances by cars and drivers in all categories, the behind-the-scenes politicking between the well-established National Hot Rod Association and Billy Meyer, new owner of the International Hot Rod Association and operator of the Versailles of Vroom Texas Motorplex, could hog the headlines. And in the SCCA Trans Am racing, a revival is on the horizon with the yet-to-be-announced schedule to show new events in Dallas, Niagara Falls, New York, Cleveland, and possibly the Meadowlands, all on temporary circuits.
Well done, Christopher. Really well done. Let's have Dave Despain back, though, for his own television program to name the Motorweek Racer of the Year right after this.
In 1982, we've selected the one racer whose performance the previous season stands above all others, the Motorweek Illustrated Racer of the Year. This year's nominees, 3 men who dominated their divisions and one who finally got a shot at the big time and responded by winning a hard-fought championship. IndyCar champion Bobby Rahal title, the kart PPG crown, got off to a rocky start. He had a failure to finish in the Indy 500. Then he went on a tear. 6 straight top 3 finishes, including a couple of wins. He grabbed the lead at midseason, clinched the championship with his 4th straight victory at Laguna Seca in California. First kart driver to log back-to-back $1 million seasons. Rahal also won 3 times on the Camel GT Sports Car Tour and scored a popular home track win in the IROC Series up at Mid-Ohio. Winston Cup king Dale Earnhardt. 6 of the first 8 Winston Cup checkered flags fell on this guy, and despite a point system that's supposed to stop title runaways, he became the first driver in 8 years to lock up the crown with 2 races to go. Earnhardt drove with even more confidence than last year, if that's possible, especially on the super speedways. But here on the short tracks, watch this. Spin out, came back, and won at Richmond. Fenders are weapons there. Earnhardt's the best guy in the business at that. He's won the championship and his first $2 million season. Here is Steve Kinzer, king of the Outlaws. He's won that series championship 7 of the last 9 years. Took it by the throat this year. A victory rampage. 46 wins in 69 main events. A midsummer string of 12 in a row. And along the way, he took that number 11 Gambler to the Knoxville Nationals, Pacific Nationals, all the big races, won an astonishing 67%. Now, since the debut of Motor Week, we've followed this guy, Dick LaHaye, drag racer.